Shelley Loving is a certified nutrition chef and author of What's on Your Fork, Shelley. This involves kids and food and health. This is a really loaded topic, but when you think of weight loss medicine or even surgery for some obese children in the U.S., how does that strike you?
Makes me sad. It makes me really sad that's what it's coming to, that the answer needs to be pills and surgery when really most of the obesity issues just starts with food. And I believe if we can teach our children young and be living examples of how they should be eating, not perfect all the time, but feeding them real foods and real whole, vegetables and fruits and food that grows from the earth instead of food that sits on a shelf in a grocery store. I feel like that's where we need to start, and we don't need to just have a Band-Aid of surgery and pills for kids.
How much of kids' weight and also internal health, because that matters as well, how much of that is genetic? How much of that is behavioral and nutritional? Because I think a lot of parents feel so torn. This morning I was washing the raspberries and the blackberries for my little boys, but I also gave them silver dollar pancakes because they love those and I want them to eat something, How much of it is genetic versus nutritional?
Yeah, I'm probably going to get a lot of flack for this, but most of it is not genetic. Most of it is behavioral. I believe that it starts with the parents or the guardians. What are you feeding the kids, right? What are you driving through? Have you looked at the food label of what you're feeding them on those? And not to put you on the spot, but like the pancakes, for example.
No, I haven't looked at it.
Yeah. So the ingredient list is so important when we're feeding our kids all these overly processed foods that have a lot of sugar in them, that have a lot of refined oils is a big deal that's not talked about enough. That stuff causes inflammation. It causes bad habits with food. And over time, not only does it make us unhealthy, but it also makes us sick. Weight is just a symptom. Weight's just a symptom of being unhealthy. My husband almost died from a massive heart attack, and he wasn't overweight at all. He worked out 5 days a week. He was what we thought was healthy. So it's not always about the weight, but it definitely needs to be a focus for their health more than anything, because we're just setting them up for failure as adults if we don't teach them early on what they should and shouldn't be eating for optimal health and growth.
I think body mass index, BMI, was an important piece of the study that was referenced by the AAP. Some people have said we need to get away from BMI. How useful is that?
So I am not a big fan of counting anything, whether that's BMI, calories, carbs. I believe we need to focus on what we are eating instead of doing all the counting. If we just get back to the basics of eating real whole foods, all that counting stuff will take care of itself.
If you see your child unhealthy or in pain and you don't want to go the medical route, where do you even begin? Because this frozen peanut butter and jelly is so much easier, and the kids like it more than something you're going to make from scratch.
Yeah, I think it just starts with making one meal. Try one healthy meal a week. I believe if we focus on anti-inflammatory foods instead of focusing on dieting and weight loss, if we focus on keeping the inflammation down in our body, all of those bad foods are going to kind of be ruled out. And I challenge people, if you don't make it a priority and it's not on your calendar right now to cook for your family at least one meal a week, that's a great place to start.
If I want to head down the Shelley Loving path, starting just with one meal or two snacks or something like that, could you give me the top 3 do-nots and do's in the food you put on the plate?
100%. So I'll start with the do-nots because I like to end on a good note. The do-nots would be anything that has refined oil in it. When I say refined oil, those are those common seed oils that you see on the shelves today in those clear plastic bottles. Canola oil, vegetable oil, palm oil, sunflower seed oil. All of those are refined. They're fake. They're made with chemicals. They cause havoc in our body long term. So that would be number 1. Number 2 would be dairy. I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for this because everybody loves their cheese, but dairy is made to grow a calf into a 1-ton animal in less than a year. It is not meant for the human body to consume it on a daily basis and stay healthy. It causes inflammation because it is a very strong chemical. The third one is white refined sugar. It does so many things. And there are thousands of studies linked to sugar and obesity and diabetes and everything you can imagine under the sun. So those would be my top 3 don'ts. My top 3 do's would be anything that is loaded with antioxidants. Berries is a good example. anything from the coconut, leafy green vegetables, nuts, seeds, legumes. All of those are anti-inflammatory foods that also have a lot of fiber and antioxidants, and our bodies receive that really well. And we use those foods for tools instead of having to put our body in defense mode against the ones that aren't good for us.
Very good to know. I'm not going to tell you how many gallons of milk we go through, but the other stuff, I think we're doing good stuff at my house. Shelley Loving, author of What's on Your Fork, gave us a lot to think about. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.